Hello and welcome. My name is Julie and this is Stamp with Julie Baum. I'm going to be showing you a fun project today. I think you're really going to like it. In just a moment, I'll tell you about all of the pieces that you're going to need to complete it. We are going to do the project with the main color being Sahara Sand. But if you stay tuned to the end of the video, I will show you the same project done in some other color schemes. So the set that I will be using for this project is Splendid Thoughts. I will also be using the Splendid Day 12 by 12 designer series paper. Now these products are in the July to December 2022 catalog, and so we are actually getting close to those going away. So do be sure and look those up right away. Now on December 7th, of 2022. This was an in-person class in my home. Guests had the opportunity to choose the Sahara Sand color scheme or soft sea foam, so I will be sure and show you that one at the end as well. I'm going to put a lot of things down in the description below this video, including a host code and also some links. There are some products that you can get from Amazon that I find helpful, and if as you see me crafting today, if you're curious about those, you can definitely be sure and find those links below. One other thing I wanted to mention is if you have not found my Saturday series, it is called Simply Saturday, and I post a video each Saturday that is a card that is fast and easy to make. So I'm going to put a link right up here in the corner of this video if that helps you to find the Simply Saturday episodes. All right, let's get going. I'm starting with a piece of Sahara Sand cardstock, and this has been cut 4 1/4 by 11 inches. This is going to be the base of the project. Then I have another piece of Sahara Sand. This piece is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. We're going to come back to this piece here in just a minute. Here's our designer paper. This piece measures 4 inches by 5 1/4. Then we're going to need a little strip of that same designer series paper. This is 4 inches by 3/4 of an inch. I do have a piece of ribbon for today, and you only need about 5 inches of ribbon. I may have cut this a little longer. This might be about 6 inches, but you only need about 5 inches. Then I have a piece of white cardstock, and this is cut I'm just double checking, 4 inches by 2 1/2. And I have a piece of black cardstock that measures 3 1/4 by 2 1/2. All right, so those are our pieces. You may also need a couple of small scraps of both Sahara Sand and white. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is take that piece that is the base of the project and put some score lines in it. So I brought in my Simply Scored scoring tool, and this is going to get scored at 5 1/2 and at 8 1/4. That's it. Those two score lines, super easy. Okay, so I'm going to use my bone folder and go ahead and press those creases in. All right, then we're going to go back to that piece of Sahara Sand cardstock, and I have my die sitting in it. I'm using a scalloped circle and a regular circle that's slightly smaller from the Layering Circles dies. And then we will also be using a couple of dies from the Splendid Thoughts, the dies that coordinate with Splendid Thoughts. And that is this little one. Trying to get it to where you can see it better. And this one. This is one of those items I'm going to link. I keep my dies for whatever project I'm working on in here. That keeps them from getting buried underneath my mess of whatever's going on my desk. It also keeps from small dies disappearing. I don't know if you've had that happen, one fall on the floor or into the trash can or something. So this is a handy little tool. Okay, One thing I want to show you with this is how you can do a little bit of a paper saving trick. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and run this through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine to cut this circle out. We're going to use this. And the reason I said it's paper saving is I could certainly have used just a piece of 4 1/4 by 5 for the project and then cut this piece out of a scrap. But this way I don't even need a scrap. I just cut my circle right out of that piece, and then it is going to get camouflaged when the designer series paper goes over it. That hole is going to disappear, and the way that the project goes together, you will not see that side either. So before I glue this down, we do need to wrap our ribbon around the designer series paper. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to lay it on here. This is going to be the top. This is probably a little bit more than an inch down from the top of the paper or so. It doesn't have to be really, really specific. And then I'm just going to flip this over, and using a couple pieces of tear and tape, I'm just going to tape this down. This is such an easy way to do it. Now, before I tape this side down, I am going to take another look and make sure that this hasn't shifted, because I do want my ribbon to be pretty straight. I'm even going to lay it down here on my grid. Yeah, that is looking good. So I'm going to pinch this side tightly, flip it over, and secure it into place with another piece of tear and tape. All right, like so. Now, I can add a little bit of adhesive to this. I also can pull off the backing of these sticky pieces so that this will adhere now to this piece. Now, the only tricky part, so pay attention, is at this point you want to make sure that you turn this so that your cutout circle is at the bottom. That's the way we're going to be able to hide it so nobody can see on the finished project what we did. All right, so this paper is going to get attached like so. Let's go ahead and do that now. So I'll release the backing papers from my tear and tape, and then I am going to add a little bit of liquid glue around my edges. Those two sticky spots will also help hold this down, obviously. And a little bit here. I'm not going to put glue down here because remember, we're going to flip this and there's going to be a hole there. So I really don't need glue right there. And if these tails of the ribbon bother you, you could certainly trim them down. Like I said, I think I started with a piece that was a little bit long. Okay, so now I can flip this over. So your ribbon is at the top, your hole in the cardstock is at the bottom. And I'm going to lay this down gently as I'm moving it around just ever so slightly to get it lined up. I need to pull it down towards the bottom a teeny bit. This is a great reason for using liquid glue, because if I had used a different type of adhesive, I would not be able to slide that. All right, so that's better. All right, now I'm going to press that. There's the hole. Okay, it's all covered up by the designer series paper. And now I'll show you, this is going to get attached to the front piece of our base. So it's the piece with the fold. And I'm going to apply glue only to this bottom edge below the fold. All right, so this, where that little hole was, is now going to get glued down so that no one will ever know that it existed. I'm going to go ahead and fold my base closed so it's nice and flat. I want this front panel to be lined up extremely straight with the rest of the project. So by having it like this, I can just kind of square up those edges, give it a nice press, make sure all my adhesive is sticking. All right, and we are well underway with our base. The way that the base is folded, this is going to become like an easel. So this is going to slide back. I'll show you the side view once we get our little post-it notes on here. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is the stamping. So I'm going to take that white circle that I had cut with the layering circles dies, and the stamp that looks like this from Splendid Thoughts, and with some Sahara sand, I'm just going to stamp a little bit on this circle. Now, I don't want it to be too dark, so I'm going to determine if I'm going to stamp off or not. Let me get a piece of scratch paper. Oh, sorry, I just jiggled the camera. All right, let's see what full strength looks like. And if I was to stamp it off, I'm going to get that. I actually think I'm okay with it full strength. Sahara sand is not a super dark color. So I'm going to take this and I think I will rotate it. And this is going to go on my circle like so. This is basically just a little background to have a drop of color. Then with my black ink, I'm going to stamp the words. Now, you could put any sentiment on here that you think is suitable. I actually chose a stamp from the Happiness Abounds stamp set, the one that says, wishing you all the happiness you can imagine. I feel like that is just a nice saying, and for someone to see this sitting on their desk for the next 12 months, it seems appropriate. So using my Memento Black ink and that stamp, I'm just going to stamp right in the middle and over those little Sahara sand splashes of color. I just stamped a different stamp than I told you I was going to. Okay, clearly there are two in here that are great. I chose this one, You Are Wonderful in Every Way, for all of the same reasons that I mentioned before, but this would be adorable too. So now I have to make one with that. Okay. Now I'm going to attach this to that Sahara sand scalloped circle that we cut out and hid. All right, and that is going to look very nice. Okay, what we're going to do is set this aside. Go ahead with the completion of the project, then we will come back and attach this and do a little bit of embellishing. All right, so on the inside of this base, I'm going to attach the strip of Designer Series paper. This is going to go at the bottom, and it's going to have about 1/8 of an inch border all the way around. You can just eyeball it, but you can see it's a small border of Sahara sand peeking out all around. All right, so this I'm going to lay down gently in case I need to slide it and get it lined up better. The left side looks good, the bottom looks good, and see, it needs to come a little bit to the right. There we go. Okay, now that piece is in place, and then the white piece of cardstock that I mentioned at the beginning is going to go next, if I can get it. This piece is going to get attached right above our strip, like so. Let's do that. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is attach my pad of sticky notes. And I am calling these sticky notes because not all sticky notes are Post-its. They're not all the brand name Post-it. These happen to be from Amazon. That'll be one of the links that I put below for you. They're quite affordable. So I'm going to turn this to the back. I want to make sure that the pad is going the way that it's going to belong on the project, and then I'm going to flip it over. And on this back side, there's always like this little backing sheet. Okay, that is what we're going to attach using some tear and tape. So I'm going to use 3 strips of tear and tape. My little metal ruler is my favorite little help when I want to tear swiftly and neatly. All right, we don't want the Post-it pad to come up from the project. We don't want it to come loose. So that's why 3 strips of tear and tape, I think, are required. I'm going to remove the backings, and then we can put this in place. Okay, I do want to kind of square up my project, and the Post-it note, or Post-it, the sticky notes are going to go slightly on above the Designer Series paper. And then I'm also looking at that white border on the right and left to keep it somewhat even, and then press these down. All right, see, the light bulb is going on, right? Now you're getting excited. You're starting to understand where this is headed. This is going to live like that on somebody's desk. Super cute. All right, let's work on the front. So take that piece of black cardstock that we pre-cut. It is going to go here on the front, about a 1/2 inch from the bottom. So we can go ahead and attach it. Again, all of your gluing, you can use whatever adhesive you prefer. You've seen a couple times today me needing to slide the paper a little bit to get it where I want it. So that's why on mini projects, I do reach for my liquid glue. Okay, now I do want this to look straight when the project is done. So I'm lining up my project on this grid, which gives me kind of some eyeball of vertical. I've also got the ribbon horizontal, just to make sure that that black piece is as straight as I can without actually measuring and placing it. Okay, now I'm going to bring in the little mini calendar. This will be another one of the links. This is not from Amazon, but I will link where I got these so that you can just go direct and order these from that company. I love the size. You can see that they are little tear-off pages. And on this piece, I'm also going to trust my tear and tape. So once again, I'm going to use 3 strips. And I will feel confident that this calendar is going to stay put. Okay, and we've got that black piece on there right where we want it. So now all we have to do is eyeball and line up the calendar centered on that little black mat. One reason that I really like this paper and these colors is I feel like it would be suitable for a lot of different people. It's just kind of an elegant look. See, I'm glad I didn't press that down, not using my glue. I can't wiggle it, so I wanted to reposition before I stick it down. Yeah, so as I was saying, it's very elegant. I think even if you don't know the person very well, perhaps it's your child's teacher or coach or something, and you don't know their favorite color or what they like, it just is a pretty neutral and very elegant look. At the end, when I show you some of the others, you can see, of course, what you could do if you know somebody's favorite color or maybe something that they would particularly enjoy. So everything is on here. This stands up easel-like. And now we're going to attach this. Let's grab some Stampin' Dimensionals. I have a page that is completely empty, so I'm going to show you how I use my edges. I'm just going to snip these apart. I just want to use every bit of this page. You could totally just toss this, but you are missing out on all those good sticky bits. Okay, so I'm going to use 4 and roughly 2 at the top and 2 at the bottom. It's going to straddle the ribbon here, so that's why I'm just kind of positioning them top and bottom. All right, get the backings off of there. And it doesn't matter to anybody else that those are not perfectly shaped little dimensionals. All right, so I'm going to lay that down. There's not much support under here because I've got my sticky notes here. So this piece, this area is solid. This is a little flimsy. So I'm just going to stick my hands under and press those dimensionals into place this way. All right. Now there's 2 other parts that we're going to do to embellish this. What I've done is I pre-cut my die cuts. So I have a white one and, come on little bits, and a Sahara sand one here somewhere. See, it disappeared. Let me see where it went. There it is. Now, what I did when I die cut these is I kind of removed them from the machine with a little bit of care so that the opposite of what you typically want to happen. Usually you want all the little inner parts to pop out. I kind of wanted a few of them to stay in. So I was very careful in lifting this off of my acrylic plate to try to keep some of those insets left in place. So I am going to pop this one out like that. Okay, now that one we're going to use as is, and if they were to all fall out, that would be fine too. I just thought it gave it a little bit of a different look. This one came out like that. All of the other little inset pieces popped out when I took it off the acrylic plate. These ones stayed, so I just left it. Okay, so I'm going to use a little bit of glue. I've got my liquid glue again, and I'm going to carefully put some dots right on those inset pieces that I kind of want to stay in place. And once I've got those, then I can just randomly put some other dots in other places. You don't have to glue every little inch of this tiny stem, just several dots, and that's going to hold it just fine. All right, so for my white one, I'm going to have it going out this direction. And I think what I'm going to do is flip the whole thing over so I can press it. Okay, there's that. And make sure that's sticking and that. And then let's put our Sahara sand piece on. Same process, a couple little dots right on those insets. If they were to pop out in mid-motion, that's fine. Okay, and then I'm going to place this one a little bit straighter up and down, just kind of overlapping the white one, like so. Now, I do want to give that a good press. Super pretty, very elegant, beautiful. All right, the last thing we're going to do is add our iridescent pearls. These are just beautiful. I'm trying to think if these are in the annual catalog or in the July to December. I am pretty sure that these are in the annual. and my catalog is just out of reach, so I'm not going to take the time to get up and go look. All right, iridescent pearls, basic jewels. I will use one large one. And probably two small ones. The regular pearls would be beautiful too, or rhinestones, but I'm telling you that these iridescent pearls are really, really beautiful, and they just kind of catch the shimmer of the light. All right, I'm trying to determine where I want this third one. I do want kind of a triangle, but I don't want an equal triangle. So I like this, two that are closer together, one that is a little bit farther away. Give those a good press as well. Back to my little stems, make sure they're holding. I think they're good. And there you have it. What a lovely little sweet gift. Or make one for yourself. Of course I did. And then this pops up like an easel to have your Post-it notes displayed on your desk. Okay, so this is the Sahara Sand one. That one's complete. Let me show you the soft sea foam. This was the other one that guests in my class made. Also beautiful. Pretty much the same design everywhere, just where this was Sahara Sand, this is soft sea foam. And there's that. And then I have two others that I want to show you. This is the one I made for myself. I really like the rainbow colors, and there's a lot of things in my desk that look like rainbow. Of course, my office is full of every color of cardstock and every color of ribbon. So I did some rainbow paper on the one that I'm keeping for myself. And then I wanted to show you this one. This was made with designer series paper from Tea Boutique, which has been a favorite all year, but I thought that that print was super cute and dainty. There's a little bit of petal pink paper. So here's where I changed the plan a little bit. Let me bring in the Sahara Sand one. Okay, so on this one, the base is Sahara Sand, the front panel is Sahara Sand, the ink is Sahara Sand, you get it, right? And then I did all black mats up until I got to this other one. So on this one, I decided to use a coordinating piece of designer series paper behind the calendar. I like how it pulls out the petal pink that's in the pattern. And then the insides are the same. I still used a little strip of the main paper there and a white piece to back behind the sticky notes. The only other thing I did different on this is I did a Parakeet Party base with a garden green front, brought the Parakeet Party in again here. So when this one sits open, you actually get to enjoy both colors of green along with that soft pink. So I do think that's very nice. This process takes a little bit longer because you've got some paper matching to do and different colors to cut out. This is more streamlined and quicker, especially if you're going to be making 12 or 15 of them for gifts. But if you know someone's color scheme or the colors in their desk, or perhaps some other little note that you want to use to personalize it, it's a great way to either use extra colors or to change up your stamps or your embellishment. This has been a total thrill to share this project with you. I hope that you love it as much as I do, and I hope you will make 1 or 2 or 15 or 20 of these. Be sure and look at the description below this video to get all of the good information that I have there prepared for you. And I will see you next time. Happy stamping!